And welcome, everyone, to the Barclay Radebaugh Show inside Zaxby's Live. We'll be doing this each and every Wednesday night at 6:30. So thank you for jumping on with us here on ESPN 910. Barclay Radebaugh, how are you today?
Well, Andrew, I'm doing really well. How about you?
I'm doing well. It's good to hear.
Good.
I mean,
little Cajun Club tonight. Great
every
meal.
night.
Every night.
Every night. I think you're going to be getting that each and every night, aren't you?
No, I'm going to have some variety. It's just if I didn't get it tonight, I would walk out and I'd say, I'm sad I didn't get the Cajun Club. Because I like the tongue torch sauce here at Zaxby's, and these folks are so good to us and to our program. It's just a privilege to be here each night, and having a large number of our athletic department here with us tonight is a lot of fun also, and going to be a good night.
And the program is doing really well right now. You guys are 5-2, coming off back-to-back home wins against Presbyterian and Winthrop. A very exciting and enjoyable weekend for you guys.
It really was. You know, we knew we needed to win both those games because we're out on the road now for 2 weeks, and we knew we had to take them one at a time. We knew that Presbyterian would come in here and play very well. It was a real challenging game because with the loss of Coleman, we didn't know exactly how they would play, and Coach Nybert had a week to prepare his team to play a different way, and play a different way they did, and much more perimeter oriented, and we saw a barrage of three-pointers, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what was interesting is, you know, you and I talked before the game and, you know, on the radio show saying, I wish we had just one game to see how they would play, Presbyterian would play without Coleman. Just one game to give a look at it. But what you guys did was found some film where Coleman got in foul trouble. I thought that was a very unique way to approaching finding out how Presbyterian would play without Coleman, and you guys really were successful in that.
Yeah, and then you know, the film got out there, and we saw what Coastal Carolina was able to do. And did they hold them to 40 points or 50 points? I can't remember, but they held them very much in check because they were able to put an emphasis on those guards and not worry as much about the post. And we really didn't know. So our team kind of had to adjust on the fly, and they did that well.
This is the Barclay Radebaugh program. We're live from Zaxby's. My name is Andrew Allegretta. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here on ESPN 910. We talked a lot about the physicality of both of these teams, Winthrop and Presbyterian. That seemed to be the big theme leading into the week. How do you think that played out for you guys?
Well, that was two very physical teams. Presbyterian prides themselves on being such a tough man-to-man team and very physical. They want to control the boards. And then Winthrop has won, 8 out of the last 9 or 10 or 11 Big South championships with their man-to-man defense, which has become nationally known. And both of them play very physically. I could really see the effects of it on Sunday and Monday. Our kids were really black and blue. And Daniel, who's our guest, has just really done a good job this week of trying to get them in the cold whirlpools. We're still pretty beat up a little bit from playing those two physical teams. But our team played physical, and we knew we needed to control the boards, and we did that in both games.
How about Kelvin Martin and the rest of your guys down low? These guys are 6'8", 6'9". They're so big. We talked about the rebounding battle. Because of that size, you'd almost assume that Winthrop would win that battle. But you have a guy in Kelvin Martin who's 6'4", 6'5", yet he outjumps everyone. Just such an impact player that he's been for your team in these past couple of games. You guys continue to dominate the boards despite being considered undersized.
Yeah, and when we made the switch to go with 3 guards, we sat down after the Georgia Tech game. You were there with us, and we had 29 turnovers. And we thought, wow, we're throwing the ball all over the place. And we came back and we made the switch to going with 3 guards, partly because we felt we could handle the ball better, and partly because of the quick and rapid development of Sheldon Strickland. We wanted to find a way to get him more minutes. And so when we did that, we knew we would be undersized, and we knew it would affect us against Richmond and Georgia Tech, the bigger schools that we played, Southern Illinois. But we knew in our league that Kelvin would be able to rebound with anybody that we play. And he's had 3 double-doubles in a row, and will continue to be, I call him the walking double-double, because he will continue to score well around the rim and to rebound well. To watch him chase down some of those rebounds against Presbyterian and Winthrop, coaches call it rebounding out of your space. A lot of people can rebound straight up and straight down. It's a special rebounder when the ball is shot over here and you're over here on the right and you're able to rebound it out of your space over on the left side of the court or on the other side of the rim. You'll see NBA players that do that. The best rebounders, Dennis Rodman, used to rebound out of his space and go chase balls down. And Kelvin does that as well as anybody that I've ever coached.
What does he have that other people don't?
Kelvin's just relentless. He has the leg strength and the core strength to be able to do that. He has the eye-hand coordination, but the biggest thing is his attitude. And honestly, when we made the switch from Kelvin to the small forward to the power forward, we were concerned how he would adapt to it, because he wants to be a small forward. He likes to handle the ball and play more on the perimeter. But we knew that championship teams in the Big South have guys like Kelvin. Joe Harris last year at Coastal Carolina, when they won the regular season, was a little bit smaller than Kelvin and was, averaged 16 points and 12 and 13 rebounds a game. And he's just so effective. And so Kelvin has that knack for it. He's been able to see where the ball is going and see where it's going to hit on the rim and position himself. And then the tenacity is just off the charts for him. His relentless work, and he's such a gamer. He's such a gamer. He does it in practice well, but he does it in a game just extremely well. And it comes down to a certain leaping ability as well, right? Yeah, I mean, he can get up above the rim at 6'4", 6'5", that a lot of guys at 6'6" or 6'7" can't do. And his hand size. Sometimes you see Kelvin rebound the ball with one hand, and he'll just snatch it out of the air, and very few people have the hands that Kelvin has. And he's able to move it offensively around, but defensively his hands are so long and strong that he's able to tip balls and be able to recover them with his big hands. I mean, he palms it like a baseball and moves it around like it's no big deal, and I'm trying to palm a women's ball, and I'm just slipping right through it, and it makes you feel bad about yourself a little bit. Yeah, no doubt. Don't shake hands with Kelvin too much. He'll break your hand. Yeah, absolutely. And while we're tossing out some praise here, how about some congratulations for Jamarco Warren, who got to 300 career threes and 300 career assists, both against Winthrop. Just continues to add to his accolades over the course of his career. I was reading some information about him today, and just what Jamarco has done in our program is just mind-boggling. 300 threes, 300 assists. He's going to finish probably third in the Big South all time in threes. And Austin Keenan might be able to catch him, but that's partly because of the system that they run at VMI. Yeah, right. And Jamarco's going to, at the end of the year, he will be third in the history of the Big South, or fourth in the history of the Big South in three-pointers made. Is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. It seems like yesterday he was just a little freshman and a young freshman, and now I mean, we're counting down the games till Jamarco's career is over, and I'm dreading that day. Yeah, and I think he's pretty close to becoming the second all-time leading scorer in Charleston Southern history as well. Unlikely to catch Hinson, who's up at the top, but what a fantastic player that he's been able to grow and develop and do all these things for you guys. I think another player that certainly has developed, especially over the past handful of games, is Jeremy Sexton. He's starting to find his rhythm from the three-point shooting arc, and to have him and Jamarco Warren, and when Sheldon Strickland's hot, I mean, that's just such a lethal combination to have more than one guy to go to from behind the arc. You know, Clark Kellogg coined the phrase spurtability. And in our last four games, it's been real interesting to see. We're playing close, and then we'll have a streak of 10, 12 points in a row. And the other night, I showed our team on film Monday. Jamarco hits a three in the corner, and then 10 seconds later, Jeremy hits a three from the left. 10 seconds later, Jeremy hits a three from the right, and just a 9-point run to take a 2 or 3 point game and make it a 10 or 12 or 13-point game. And that's the type of explosiveness that we're developing as a team. And I'm just so excited to see that, because we've just preached that. And it all starts, when you watch closely, it all starts with Kenny Mitchell and Johathan Brooks running down the middle of the floor, because you have to respect that or you're going to give up a layup. And Jamarco pushes the ball so hard. Johathan and Kenny run so fast down the court that now you have two guys on the wings that are just, Jamarco's just, throwing the ball to open players, and we're making shots. And it's been a lot of fun to watch. It's the Barclay Radebaugh program here on ESPN 910.
dissecting 2 wins for you guys, Winthrop and Presbyterian. Talking about Kenny Mitchell run down the court, he contributes there too. I think there was a specific play against Winthrop or Presbyterian, can't remember exactly which one it was, but he runs down the court, and if someone on the wing isn't open, you hit a cutting Kenny Mitchell, and it's an easy dunk for him too. Yeah,
he's really gotten himself into good shape, and we've really developed a really nice rotation in the post with he and with Johathan and Kenny and Kelvin and Troy a little bit mixing in there, and we just feel like athletically we can compete with anybody in our league with those 3 guys. We looked, and that's a Winthrop team that we're talking about with that historically has been the beast of our league, the athletes of our league, and you're seeing the ball up there, and we're tipping it around and blocking shots off the backboard and running, and I mean we're the athletes above the rim on Saturday afternoon, and it was just nice to see us play with that type of confidence and that type of resilience and that type of toughness mixed in with that type of athleticism and length. Johathan's legs are so alive, and he is a repetitive jumper, and so he's so long that really makes it very difficult for teams. One coach called me, he said, your best offense is a missed shot. And, I'm going to have to kind of agree with him on that when we get the ball up there on the rim, and we got Johathan chasing it down, and Kenny is an in-the-space rebounder, but he's 6'7.5", 235, and he's so strong that he's able to rebound in his space, and then Johathan and Kelvin kind of run him down and are little, running rebounders. And it's been a pretty nice thing to watch. And, I just told our team on Monday, I said, we're making steps, and we have so much still to improve on. There's so many areas that we can continue to improve as our confidence grows. We can continue to dissect and get better and better at a number of things that will have us hopefully peaking in February.
Okay, so here's your last question before we step away and come back and talk a little bit about Gardner-Webb and then preview UNC Asheville, the 2 games this weekend. What is the one thing you took away from Presbyterian and Winthrop that you say, this is an area we still need to focus on?
I'll give you 4, and this is what I'm telling our team. Number 1, rebounding. We know we have to continue to box out because we're so small. And I thought against Winthrop, we rebounded athletically and didn't rebound fundamentally. And that catches up with you over the course of time. Defensively, I thought that we got out of our position. With Winthrop's 4-man motion and with an emphasis on Presbyterian's interior play, which at halftime shifted to their exterior play, I thought we got out of our lanes. We play a gap defense where we want to have great pressure on the ball and everybody else standing at what we call the pack line. The third area is we felt like we missed a number of people that were open. We averaged 13 or 14 assists a game, which is really, really good. It's top 3 in the league. But I still feel because of our athleticism that we're missing some people that are open. And then lastly, we got to continue to, and this is what we're talking about. We got to continue to seek ways to improve when we have the lead. I'm concerned. Radford up 20, win by less than 20. High Point up 18, win by 8. Presbyterian up 11 with 2 minutes and 37 seconds, and they cut it to 2. Winthrop up 10, and they cut it to 4. And some of that happens, but what we're seeing a little bit of it is a trend, and we got to overcome that trend. And the way that you overcome that is when you have a lead, you continue to get stops, but then you continue to take the ball to the rim. We get fouled a lot. And we got to continue to push the ball to the rim, push the ball to the rim, push the ball to the rim on the pass and on the dribble, and not get up 16 and then just become a jump shooting team. We want to get up 16 and then we want to get up 18. They may cut it to 14, get it back to 18. So I know we got to take a break here, but those are the 4 areas.
No, absolutely. We'll talk about when we come back here on the Barclay Radebaugh program. We'll talk a little bit about how those things affect the 2 games coming up, Gardner-Webb and UNC Asheville. That's next on ESPN 910. Welcome back to the Barclay Radebaugh program. My name is Andrew Allegretta. Pleased to have you with us here on ESPN 910. We do this each and every Wednesday, 6:30, so make sure you join us throughout this season. We'll have to mix it up a little bit. We have a couple games coming up at certain points on a Wednesday, so we'll have to shift it around. But pay attention. We'll, generally speaking, be doing this on Wednesday, 6:30. We talked a little bit about some of the things you need to get better at before we stepped away, Coach, and now you have Gardner-Webb and UNC Asheville, part of 4 straight road games for you guys. How does some of those things affect these 2 games coming up?
Well, it's given us some things to work on in practice, and we've really focused on these things and those 4 things. And, you know, you got to kind of be wise as a coach this time of year, and these are some of the mistakes that I made as a younger coach earlier as a head coach, your practice time needs to be really tailored back this time of year. And the number of times that you go up and down a court, we've been going hard since August, and we need to make sure that these young people have rested legs. And you're getting ready to talk to a guy who's real instrumental in the health of our team and how rested we've been. I thought that we had more energy than Winthrop, and I thought we had more energy than Presbyterian, particularly late in the game. And I really thought, and it was the one that was most shocking, is I thought we had a little bit more energy than VMI at VMI, and I thought that was good. Gardner-Webb to me is a very dangerous game. Very concerned about the game. Gardner-Webb is good enough to beat anybody in our league. They lost their leading scorer about 7 or 8 games ago, and it's really affected their team. They've been in a number of games. They had Liberty beat. I saw it on film. I couldn't believe that they lost that game. They played real well at Asheville on Saturday. Maybe the hottest team or one of the hottest teams in our league. And so I'm concerned. They have good young players. They got some veterans that have been through the wars before. They're going to be at home. It's only their 5th or 6th or 7th home game of the year, and I'm concerned because of the way they play. You know, if they can make some shots, they can hang in there. Then you know, certainly it can be a game. We got to go, and we got to understand that every single game is unbelievably important for us. We need to continue to position ourselves, first and foremost, to have a home conference game in the tournament, and a home tournament game, and secondly, to maybe, God's grace and the Lord willing, we can continue to compete for a conference championship. We'll see how that plays out in our league, because we're a one-bid league. You either need to win the championship, which guarantees at least the NIT, or you need to position yourself for a run through the conference tournament. And so our goal is to be playing our best basketball in February, and these are all games that prepare us for that, to hopefully have a home conference tournament game, and then to hopefully compete for the regular season championship. Those are 2 goals that we have that, you know, we've never really been able to talk about before.
It's the Barclay Radebaugh program here on ESPN 910. My name is Andrew Allegretta. Fans, don't forget to go to csusports.com for all of your CSU sports information. You mentioned wanting to be a top 4 team. Right now you guys are. You're 3rd in the conference, just as perspective here, behind Liberty and Coastal, 3rd place in the conference. Gardner-Webb 2-2 at home compared to 2-11 on the road. So they haven't seen many of these home games. And one of those home games, as you did bring up, and I want to focus on it a little bit, was that Liberty game. They had Liberty, a team that certainly we struggled with. They had that team beat. What went well for them in that game?
Well, the pace that they played in was a pace that they could handle. They're not going to run it up and down the court like they typically do because of their depth. We want to wear them down. We worked on it today. We're going to press a little bit more than we've been pressing. We're going to move down the court and pick them up full court. Luke Davis is one of the better freshmen in the league, and we're going to really try to get him out of the game. He creates, just like Jesse does, he creates so much for them. He only averages 9 points a game, but he creates another 10 to 12 with his penetration and moving the ball. You know, they just played well. They played well. And, you know, that game maybe took a little steam out of them because they came back the next night and lost pretty handedly to a up-tempo VMI team. And so we got to get it up-tempo, and we got to spread the floor and use our quickness and speed to get them in positions where we can drive them. But they have the ability. They against UNC Asheville on Saturday, it was a 4-point game with a minute to go. And we know how good UNC Asheville is playing right now. And so it's a concern. It's a game we got to go get to continue to be in the upper part of the league. We know we got to split on the road. To be in the top of the league, we got to go win both these games this week.
How big was the win against VMI then to pick up your first road win of the season, to know that now that you're starting 4 straight on the road, you have one of those under your belt?
No doubt. Very, very important. Our guys know. They follow it like we follow it. They know how good VMI is, and they know how well we played there to be able to win at VMI. So, everything that we do successfully, team sports is so much about how you feel about yourself and how you perceive yourself. And when our team played poorly at Liberty, and it was good, we were able to admit that as a team. We played poorly. Now let's go get this VMI game. And we went and got that game, which propelled us to play well against Presbyterian, which propelled us to play well against Winthrop. If we can continue to win, we can continue to grow that confidence. And but it's one game at a time, one half at a time, one possession at a time, to put ourselves in a position to be successful against a good Gardner-Webb team, which will help us be successful hopefully against a very, very good UNC Asheville team.
So quickly before we step away here and have Daniel Roberts come on, the trainer, and speak with us, just a quick preview of UNC Asheville and what kind of team they are.
Well, you know that they're guard-oriented. And J.P. Prim is one of the finest guards, not only in our league, but in mid-major basketball. He's a tough matchup for us because of his size. Dickey is just an energy bunny out there. He's just all over the place. Williams is back. You think Kelvin can jump. Wait till you see Williams. He's the best leaper in college basketball, bar none. And they're playing. Cunningham just got back from a knee injury. They're playing very, very well. We swept them last year. And so I know they have that in the back of their mind. But it'll be a great game. It's 2 very good teams. And a game that if we're going to compete for the regular season championship, we got to go win. And Eddie does a great job with his team. We've had battles with them. They have been knockdown, drag-out battles. And I'm really looking forward to the game. They have a small gym like us. It's always packed when we go in there. And there's certainly no love lost between us and UNC Asheville.
Barclay Radebaugh, thank you so much for your time, the head coach of Charleston Southern. When we return, the trainer for the basketball team. That's next on the Barclay Radebaugh program, ESPN 910.
All right.
Welcome back to the Barclay Radebaugh program that has now turned into the Daniel Roberts Show, the trainer for Charleston Southern Athletics. My name is Andrew Algretta. Last couple of minutes of the program here. First off, I like to kind of introduce people to you, where you come from, your background. How'd you get from wherever you were to Charleston Southern?
All right, I'm originally from Kentucky, and I spent the last couple of years working at East Tennessee State doing their rehab, and then I just came down here to get the basketball gig, so it's worked out really well. I like the area a lot. You've
worked at some pretty unique places, though. You've worked at Tennessee, I believe, as an intern, and how big were those internships and those learning processes for you?
I mean, all those things are huge. I mean, it really gave me a lot more experience to come here and do the best job I can to help these kids out. So, I mean, those experiences at that big time level, it just makes you see what you got to shoot for every time and try to provide those same services to our kids here.
And I think you guys are doing a good job of it. I mean, one of the things that's been nice for you is there's such a good support among the students as well that want to become athletic trainers, and you have such great help. And you and the head trainer, Brad Drake, it's just it's a good family unit, and you guys put it all together fairly well, it seems like.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We have some of the best students probably around. We have a great program, and I mean, they always are there, ready to learn and ready to help. They do a great job helping guys out as well. And like you said, it's a big family that we have, and so that's the best way you can explain it. Basketball family, athletic training family, we just all come together and get the job done.
And so far, so good for you guys. I don't necessarily know if I want to mention or not, but everything is going well for you and the basketball team right now. We have a knock on wood right now, but so things so far so good for you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, we got our your usual bumps and bruises, but other than that, no major injuries right now. So we're just keeping everybody healthy, which is giving us a good shot to win games, which is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, you and I have actually roomed on the road several times, and I think one of the things that we've talked about is, you have such a great group of guys to work with too. I mean, these guys have treated you well. I mean, you're taping them before every practice and game and all this good stuff, and they treat you with such good respect, and you just have such a wonderful group of guys to work with.
Oh yeah, it's a phenomenal group of guys to work with. I really honestly couldn't ask for a better bunch to work with. I mean, like I said, we just get along so well, and it's just one big family that we have here, at Charleston Southern.
They keep you entertained while you're taping them. I mean, they're in the room. I mean, they're
Almost definitely. I mean, they're gonna sing you some songs, make up some jokes. It's always a good time, especially when we're taping. So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, they'll do that on the bus ride home too. I'm trying to remember a few of the songs that they were singing on the bus ride back from.
It's like the iPod
VMI. Yeah, they'll go from anything too. I mean, you don't have to expect them to do a rap song or anything. They'll be doing. I think I heard someone sing a John Mayer song at one point.
I feel like they did. Most definitely.
Which is always important. But they've been such a good group for you to work with as well, and you guys have made such good strides with the athletic training department, bringing in the ice tub, and such a good thing for them and keeping their legs fresh.
Absolutely. And I think that's helped us a lot this year. We've had guys in it every day, and they're running up and down the court on days they probably don't have the legs to, but that ice tub has helped them out a lot.
Well, Daniel Roberts, thank you so much for your time here on the Barclay Radebaugh program. Again, we do this each and every Wednesday, 6:30, ESPN 910. Make sure you join us. Go to csusports.com and follow us on the road. Tip time on Thursday, I believe, is 7 p.m. against Gardner-Webb, which means it'll tip off on WJMI at 6:45. My name's Andrew Allegretta. Thank you so much for joining us from Zaxby's. We'll be doing it again a week from now. Until then, take it easy.